Greetings everyone, I'm Hoodie Angel Brandon. One of the biggest aspects of Pokemon is the sense of adventure. While your journey will largely consist of traveling many roads, crossing rivers and seas, passing through forests, and even scaling mountains and spelunking in the occasional cave, they also take you to a number of towns. While perhaps not as exciting as finding new Pokemon in the wild, they're no less important, serving as places of respite to heal your team, test your mettle against gym leaders, shop till you drop, and sometimes just stop to enjoy the view, reminding yourself how far you've come on your journey. With Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon coming up, I was thinking about all the towns I couldn't wait to revisit. Then it hit me. I didn't care much for most of the cities there. Sure, they were neat the first time through, but by the time you were done with all the tutorials, even a place like Castelli City, which was cool at first, held up on revisitation about as well as a shit-in just surrounded by stealth rocks. Today, I wanted to pay tribute to some of my favorite points of civilization from across the series, with my top 10 cities in the Pokemon games. Number 10. Castelli City. A Johto city made this list? Yes. While Johto is my least favorite region, I feel like I need to stress that I still don't hate it, and think it had a number of great charms. Among them is this gem, Castelli City. Admittedly, it's kind of light in terms of cool stuff to do for fun, but it makes up for that in plot relevance, being home to not just one of Johto's coolest gym leaders, but also the Bell Tower and Burned Brass Tower, which are key to the backstory of Johto's legendaries, Ho-Oh and Lugia, and the legendary beasts. And the Japanese-styled aesthetics were well translated in the Gen 2 remakes, making it a visually gorgeous location. Number 9. Mauville City from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because the original Mauville City sucked. For the Gen 3 remakes, Mauville City received a complete overhaul, changing from a few random buildings more akin to a town to a full-fledged city. There are a fair number of useful locations here. Of course there's the gym, but it also stands as a crossroads, allowing access to a variety of other locations. It's close to the daycare, which is important prior to unlocking the one at the Battle Resort in the post-game. There's a bike shop, some move tutors, and other fun shops. You can even get the Lapunite and some O-Powers here. I just really like the way they took an otherwise really boring place and transformed it into an interesting location to explore. The new aesthetic really helps set it apart from a lot of other towns and cities, which are just a collection of houses. And of course, I don't think anyone can forget one of the weirdest side quests in all of Pokemon, which explains the backstory of that creep, Mr. Bonding. Number 8. Celadon City. This city has a ton of stuff. Aside from the gym is the Celadon department store, which has almost everything you could need for your journey, from Pokédolls to basic evolution stones and even vitamins. But that's not all, you can also get a free Eevee. How great is that? And you also get the tea you need to finally get past all the stupid guards blocking the way to Saffron City. And finally, last but not least, this city has the one, the only, Game Corner! Ignoring the fact it's a front for an evil organization, this is one of the best places to just waste time and your hard-earned money. So many hours spent here trying to get TMs and Porygons and the like. Ah, the good old days when Pokemon was allowed to include gambling in their games. Why, Europe, why? Why has your stupid rating system taken away our gambling? Number 7. Nimbasa City. Well, if we can't have gambling, we'll need to find our fun somewhere else. Where better than Nimbasa City? I love the concept of this place. It's more of an amusement park than an actual town, really. In fact, I always considered it more of an offshoot of Castelli City, a place for everyone to come unwind after a long day of whatever it is business people do in those big skyscrapers. There's tons of nifty things here. A Ferris wheel, roller coasters, Orange Black and White 2, a modeling runway, a train station, and a sports dome place. And finally, the Pokemon Musical Hall, which was actually a massive disappointment compared to Gen 3 and 4's contests. Regardless, the atmosphere here is just a lot of fun. Number 6. Lumiose City. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but Brandon, Lumiose had terrible camera angles and everything was confusing, and yeah, I'll give you the camera wasn't great, but I never had a problem memorizing where everything was and navigating. Lumiose, for all its flaws, did show off exactly what I'd hoped to see in a real main series 3D Pokemon game. It's large and gorgeous, and it's full of stuff to do, and little things that add to the charm and atmosphere. Visiting little cafes and having your frou-frou groomed, shopping at fancy boutiques and showing off your fashion, having your hair cut in a trendy salon, and even getting fancy fruit drinks at that one berry place I only went into once. It also had the battle restaurants, which were the best place to train your Pokemon in Gen 6 prior to Oras' Blissey bases. Finally, and most importantly, it had the ball shop. Why hasn't this returned? It should be a staple in every game moving forward. Not having to fly to each town to check what balls they sell is so convenient. It's a no-brainer. Lumiose is pretty spectacular, and it's based off Paris, so maybe I'll see my share Adrien. Ooh la la. Number 5. Castelli City. Before we got Lumiose, the most impressive city was, in my opinion, Castelli City. With a massive sprawling skyline and a huge amount of bustling NPCs, this city was amazing to see for the first time, and really felt alive. While outside of standard plot stuff here, there's not too much actually interesting to do. I still enjoyed this city for just how cool it felt to run amongst the towering skyscrapers. Also, I found the fact you could stand in line to buy the local treat, the Castelli cone, oddly charming. I'm not sure why. I hate standing in lines in real life, but it just added to the city's feel here. Aside from that, you could go on a boat trip. That's cool, I guess. Number 4. Jubilife City. Much as Castelli and Lumiose are impressive cities encountered early into their respective games, I always felt Jubilife was much the same for the Sinnoh region. While not nearly as impressive as the other two, I'll never forget stumbling through the early game routes and finally arriving in Jubilife on my very first Pokemon adventure. It made me realize just how large a journey I had just embarked on. The prior two towns, Twinleaf and Sandgem, were positively tiny compared to Jubilife. It had all kinds of cool things to see. The Poketch Company, the TV station, the trainer school that I proceeded to ignore and then wondered why my Chimchar got destroyed at the Rock-type gym. This was also where the GTS was located. An incredibly important feature for trading back in the day if you didn't have friends. Yeah, you youngins don't know how spoiled you are. Back in my day, you had to fly all the way to this specific city just to try and complete the Pokedex. Actually, the GTS still sucks, so maybe things aren't so different after all. Either way, Jubilife is just a huge nostalgia trip every time I see it. Number 3. The next number is a little more laid back than some of the other cities on this list. It's Hearthome City. While this city, like all the others here save Jubilife, has a gym, I found myself returning to this one more often than for the various extras. This city has the Sinnoh Contest Hall, which was an incredibly fun side quest, and much improved from its Gen 3 incarnation in the level of involvement, adding a dress-up section and dance segment. Totally optional, but I spent hours here as a kid, and you can't have contests without a way to raise those contest stats. This city was also home to the Poffin House, where you could blend little treats for your team, another fun little diversion. Hearthome also had Amity Square, which was the first time since Yellow that trainers could walk alongside their trusted companions. It was more than a bit limited in who you could choose, but it did set the stage for the beloved feature's triumphant return in Heart Gold Soul Silver. Strolling both this area with my Pokemon and the city itself at night was always oddly relaxing. Number 2. Opelousas City. From Black and Black 2 only, it sucks in the white versions. This is a case of me just really loving the aesthetic of a town, though it only really applies to the Black and Black 2 versions of it, which have a very futuristic feel to it, whereas the white versions are supposed to be more natural and boring. In its black version incarnation, it, along with a number of other locations on this list, have inspired what I think of when it comes to futuristic cities. The one that could be realistic in the not so distant future without going full Star Wars. Number 1. Finally, at number 1 is Sunyshore City from Gen 4. There's so much I love about this place. The gym is home to one of my favorite gym leaders, the electric specialist Volkner. Following that electric theme, the beachside city has solar panel walkways. That's just so cool! Again, inspiring my thoughts on futuristic cities. As for non-plot related extras, the market sells ball seals, which were a fun little way to add a little personal flair to your favorite Pokemon, even if the options were a bit limited. Please find a way to bring this feature back, Game Freak. You could also find some ribbons and apps for your Poketch. Nothing major, but still fun. And most of all, that music. So good. It's like it's saying, you've done it, you've come so far, just a little more to go and you'll become the champion. It's so upbeat and triumphant. The atmosphere here between the music and the actual theme of the city itself is perfect. It really hammers how far you've come on your journey. You started in a tiny little town with nothing of note, but you've made it all the way here, an advanced city that lies just a stretch before the League. Even a decade later, it makes me misty-eyed, cementing its place as my favorite city of all time. Yes, I know this list was pretty Gen 4 and 5 heavy, which makes sense as they're my favorite gens, and seem to make more of an effort to make the towns you visit more interesting. Anyways, those are just my personal favorites. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. This is Hoodie Angel Brandon, signing out.